Right now, a massive shift is happening in how we manage our health. Recent data shows an absolutely alarming trend. 1 in 5 adults are now trusting 60-second social media influencer hacks over the advice of professional, certified dentists. We're seeing a total flood of trending clips promising quick, natural, and cheap fixes for literally everything from yellowing to crooked teeth. But today, we're going to look at the hard clinical evidence behind these viral trends. In this explainer, we're breaking down 5 specific dental hacks that are racking up millions of views, and we'll show you exactly what they're actually doing to the biology of your mouth.
So I want you to just think about this for a second. Would you trust a 60-second tutorial to guide you through an irreversible surgical procedure right in your own bathroom? Probably not, right? Yet, that's exactly what millions of people are doing when they try these DIY dental hacks. There's this alluring promise that because something is natural or cheap, it's inherently safe. But here is the biological reality. Your dental enamel does not regenerate. Once it's gone, it is gone forever. So every time you apply a harsh, unverified chemical or physical abrasive to your teeth, you aren't just trying out a cute beauty hack. You're potentially causing permanent structural damage to a completely finite resource.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Trend number 1, the lemon juice and DIY whitening lie.
If you browse the teeth whitening hashtags for even a minute, you'll find hundreds of thousands of clips of people scrubbing acidic fruit juices or applying homemade chemical strips to their teeth for an instant Hollywood glow. Influencers claim it's a harmless, natural quick fix. So the viral myth tells us that natural acids like lemon juice safely whiten teeth. But the clinical fact? It's much darker. Dental experts from the American Dental Association and clinical studies show that these DIY methods are incredibly dangerous. Lemon juice is highly acidic. When you scrub it directly onto your teeth, it aggressively erodes your protective enamel. And it doesn't even stop there. People are actively giving themselves severe chemical burns on their gums, inducing extreme tooth hypersensitivity and causing permanent, irreversible enamel damage. Because these aren't administered by professionals, the margin for error is huge, and the soft tissues of your mouth end up paying the price.
Moving on to trend number 2, the dark side of charcoal.
We've all seen the highly aesthetic routines of people brushing with pitch black foam, rinsing, and then flashing a bright white smile. It looks fantastic on camera, for sure, and the marketing myth claims this black charcoal safely acts like a magnet to scrub away surface stains. But the clinical reality is that charcoal is incredibly abrasive. Think of it like taking microscopic sandpaper to your teeth. Sure, you might scrub away some coffee stains, but as you do that, you're literally wearing down your thick white enamel. And you know what happens when you thin out that white enamel? You start to expose the dentin layer underneath. And dentin is naturally yellow. So ironically, by excessively using charcoal toothpaste to get white teeth, you're permanently damaging your enamel and ultimately making your teeth look much more yellow over time.
Now, what's really interesting here are the hidden secondary hazards. Beyond the abrasive damage we just talked about, most charcoal pastes completely lack fluoride. By swapping your regular toothpaste for charcoal, you're stripping away your primary defense against cavities. On top of that, clinical reviews have found that around 1/3 of these charcoal dental products contain something called bentonite clay. This is pretty alarming because the FDA has issued warnings that some bentonite clay can contain dangerous levels of lead. So you aren't just risking a cavity, you could potentially be exposing your body to heavy metal toxicity, all for a temporary social media aesthetic.
Okay, up next is trend number 3, DIY dentistry disasters.
So we're now moving from harmful pastes to outright physical trauma. This is where people are actively trying to change the shape and alignment of their teeth at home without any medical supervision whatsoever. The path of DIY destruction often starts with someone doing a bit of home teeth scraping with a metal tool, maybe using a standard nail file to shave down an uneven tooth, or wrapping simple rubber bands around their front teeth to close a gap. It sounds innocent, right? Maybe a little resourceful? Absolutely not. Let's trace what actually happens here. Scraping and filing destroy the enamel, tear up your gums, and expose the super-sensitive inner tooth, leading to irreversible pulp injury. And the rubber bands? They are notorious for slipping under the gum line. Once they're there, they migrate straight up towards the roots of the teeth. This causes intense inflammation, destroys the bone, leads to nerve death inside the tooth, and ultimately, permanent tooth loss. Yeah, your tooth literally falls out because of a standard office supply.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why DIY orthodontics is so misguided. A recent clinical study in the Romanian Journal of Stomatology mapped out midline diastemas, that's the gap between the front two teeth, and its relationship with the frenulum attachment, which is the tissue connecting your lips to your gums. The researchers proved that these gaps aren't just random spaces. They are heavily correlated with complex anatomical structures, like a high papillary frenulum attachment. You just cannot fix a complex anatomical tissue issue by wrapping a rubber band around it. It requires proper orthodontic intervention and sometimes even a surgical frenectomy to release that tissue. Science tells us the mouth is an incredibly complex system, not a DIY craft project.
All right, trend number 4, baking soda burns. Because baking soda has been sitting in our kitchens for decades, the viral myth assumes it's a completely harmless everyday whitener, totally safe to use as a primary dental cleaner every single day. However, clinical dentistry paints a very different picture. While baking soda does have some mild antibacterial properties, using raw, concentrated baking soda daily as a scrub absolutely destroys the smoothness of your enamel. It leaves the surface of your teeth rough and prone to even more staining. Worse, it's highly alkaline. Direct, repeated application causes such severe irritation to the soft tissues of your mouth that it can lead to active gum inflammation, bleeding, and really painful chemical burns right along the gum line.
Which brings us to trend number 5, the pothole and the savior. Let's pivot from the damage caused by these trends for a second and look at how a tooth actually heals. Oil pulling is an ancient Ayurvedic practice of swishing oil, usually coconut or sesame, in your mouth for up to 20 minutes. The viral claim today is that this practice can actually cure or reverse an established cavity. But here's the clinical fact. A 2022 meta-analysis of 9 randomized controlled trials found that while oil pulling might slightly reduce some free-floating salivary bacteria, it has absolutely no significant impact on plaque indexes. It just cannot rebuild enamel. Once there's a physical hole in your tooth, no amount of swishing oil will magically regrow that missing mineral structure. It strictly requires professional clinical repair. So, the crucial point here is captured perfectly in this quote from the clinical sources. A cavity is a breakdown in the tooth's hard outer structure. A useful comparison is a pothole in a road. Think about that. If your street has a massive pothole in it, you wouldn't expect it to fix itself just because you wash the street with soap and water, right? The structural material is literally gone. It has to be physically patched with new material. Well, teeth work the exact same way. Oil pulling might help wash the street, but it absolutely will not fill the pothole. And why does debunking all of this matter so much? Because 52% of children in the US alone have cavities. Worldwide, the WHO reports 2.3 billion cases of untreated decay. We are dealing with a massive public health issue here. When people rely on unproven social media fluff like oil pulling or charcoal to treat actual decay, they delay real medical treatment. The decay spreads deeper into the tooth, eventually hitting the nerve, turning what could have been a tiny, simple filling into a massive, expensive, and incredibly painful root canal.
But there is a biological process that actually can help you, and it's called remineralization. This is the evidence-based process of repairing early mineral loss in your enamel. But notice the key phrase here, before a physical cavity forms. This only works in the pre-cavitation stage, when the enamel is weakened but hasn't physically broken open yet. And to achieve this remineralization, you definitely cannot use lemon juice or charcoal. You need proper, clinically proven mineralizing agents.
So forget the viral trends. This is your ADA-approved enamel savior checklist. First, brush twice daily with fluoride toothpaste. Fluoride is the only universally recognized, safe, evidence-based method to genuinely remineralize and strengthen enamel. Second, clean between your teeth daily with floss. Oil just doesn't reach those tight contacts where cavities actually form. Third, limit your frequent sugar exposure, which stops that endless cycle of acid attacks on your teeth. And lastly, rely on professional dental exams to catch early changes before they become massive potholes. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, stripping away the shiny filters of social media to reveal the harsh biological reality of these dental trends. Lemon juice burns, charcoal scratches, rubber bands destroy roots, home teeth scraping tears up your gums, and baking soda causes chemical burns. It all comes down to this final thought. Your enamel is finite. You literally only get one set of adult teeth for the rest of your life. So I want to leave you with this question to consider today. Are you going to protect your smile with proven evidence-based science, or are you going to let a 60-second trending hashtag destroy it permanently? The choice is entirely yours. Keep learning, stay curious, and protect that smile.